Today's story is about a homeless person who, through the intercession of Padre Pio, was helped. This world is our journey and not our destination, as Padre Pio used to say. We know that our time on earth is in fact very uncertain, but the destination is important. And can we leave arriving at this destination purely up to chance? In the footsteps of Padre Pio, we produce little short videos, inspirational videos about the life of Padre Pio. And why do we do this? In order to strengthen people's faith in the sublime destination that we are all aiming for. Now, Padre Pio's life was so full of the miraculous. Besides heroic charity, he had numerous healings. There are numerous incidents of healings, prophecies, all sorts of miracles. In fact, he could read people's souls, so to speak, and he used that knowledge in order to put the people right with God again. So he was an incredible miracle worker from just 50 years ago, not too long ago. But I like to think of Padre Pio's, all his miracles and that, as God's stamp of authenticity on his life, on this saint. Nonetheless, even despite all of these miracles, Padre Pio remained absolutely humble, and he took nothing for himself, but instead lived in a state of Franciscan poverty. These stories, in addition, they not just taken from one person or two people, but from many different people. And where possible, reliable witnesses back up the story. For instance, if a person is cured, there's a miraculous cure, then a doctor will affirm that he has no explanation. So we would ask you please to help us spread this message of Padre Pio far and wide. And at the bottom of the screen, you'll see exactly how you can help us. There's various ways, obviously. Firstly, subscribe to our YouTube channel and then share the videos. Today's story is the following. It is called My Prayer Was Taken to Padre Pio's Tomb. And this is by Jim Stewart, and it can be found on the website Padre Pio Devotions. What Jim says is that his dear childhood friend, Timothy, had been homeless for 5 years. His friend Timothy had kind of gone off the rails through two things, addiction and depression, and then unfortunately there was no immediate family to help lift him back onto his feet. Timothy's whereabouts was unknown, and this included Jim. What could they do? They did not know where he was. They knew there's a problem. He was homeless. That is all they knew. What Jim did is that he wrote a petition to Padre Pio, and he knew someone who was going to San Giovanni Rotondo to Padre Pio's monastery. So he gave him this prayer petition to please intercede for this friend of his, Timothy. And they delivered it to the very tomb of Padre Pio. Anyway, and then what actually happened next was, of course, a little surprising. Of the millions of homeless people there are, Timothy was selected by a non-profit organization to go through a process of rehabilitation. They raised a lot of money for his rehab, and then they sent him through a drug rehab clinic, and he came out the other side. But in addition to that, they managed to track down some distant relatives that no one even knew about. After the rehab, he was able to go and live with the relatives. His relatives took Timothy into their home, and now he lives near to where they live, but he has a job and an apartment, and he's very happy in his new life. It's kind of incredible. And Jim puts it like this. He says, the odds of this happening to him, he finds absolutely staggering. Of the millions of people out there needing help, Timothy was selected. Not only that, but somehow Jim heard that he had been selected. So it wound its whole way back through this grapevine, and Jim heard this. He finds it absolutely incredible, and he says, and I give all glory to the all-powerful and all-loving God, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, through the intercession of Padre Pio. So that's a beautiful story of how Padre Pio's intercession, this is after he's dead, his intercession nonetheless helped this homeless person, Timothy. Padre Pio's quotes for the day, and his quote is, without Jesus, you can do nothing. In the end, the gamble of our lives is all in this child. and that's Jesus. I live for Jesus Christ. I live for His glory. I live to serve Him. I live to love Him. In Jesus, everything has an answer. Without Him, only a big void.
In nome del Padre, del Figliolo e dello Spirito Santo, e così sia. Sia lodato Gesù e Maria, e